Have you ever felt like you're living in a world where nobody quite gets you? Like you're watching life through a different lens, seeing layers and meanings that others seem to glide right past? That nagging feeling when your insights go unnoticed, or worse, get dismissed. If you're finding yourself nodding along, chances are you're an INFJ, and today, we're going to unpack something that's probably been weighing on your heart for a while: why others often fail to see your true value. You see, being an INFJ is like having a superpower that sometimes feels more like a hidden burden. It's carrying around a depth of understanding that often goes unrecognized in a world that tends to celebrate the loud, the obvious, and the immediate. But here's the thing: your value isn't diminished just because others don't see it. In fact, it might be precisely because of how special your gifts are that they go unnoticed by many. Before we dive deeper, I want you to know that this isn't just another video telling you to be yourself or embrace your uniqueness. No, we're going to get real about why your particular way of being in the world is both incredibly valuable and often overlooked. We'll explore the specific challenges you face, why they occur, and most importantly, how to navigate them while staying true to yourself. The invisible gems: understanding INFJ traits. Let's start by acknowledging something fundamental about your nature as an INFJ. Your gifts often operate in the realm of the invisible, the unspoken understanding, the subtle shifts in energy, the underlying patterns that others miss. Think about those moments when you've instantly known something was off with a friend, long before they said a word. Or how you can walk into a room and immediately sense the emotional temperature, picking up on tensions or joy that others seem oblivious to. These aren't just random coincidences or lucky guesses. They're manifestations of your innate ability to read between the lines of human experience. Your mind naturally synthesizes countless subtle cues: a slight change in someone's tone, a barely noticeable shift in body language, an inconsistency between words and actions. You process all of this information automatically, often without even realizing you're doing it. But here's where things get tricky. In a world that prioritizes concrete evidence and measurable outcomes, these intuitive insights can seem nebulous or unreliable to others. When you try to explain how you know something, you might find yourself struggling to point to specific, tangible evidence. It's not that your insights aren't real or valuable; they absolutely are. It's just that they stem from a place of deep intuitive understanding that isn't easily quantifiable or explainable in conventional terms. The paradox of being both deep and misunderstood. This brings us to one of the most frustrating paradoxes of being an INFJ. You possess an incredible depth of understanding about human nature and the complexities of life, yet you often struggle to communicate these insights effectively. It's like having access to a vast library of wisdom, but finding that the books are written in a language that others don't quite speak. Picture this: you're in a meeting, and you can clearly see how a current decision might impact team dynamics 6 months down the line. You can envision the potential ripple effects on morale, productivity, and interpersonal relationships. But when you try to voice these concerns, you might find yourself met with blank stares or dismissive responses. "You're overthinking it," they might say, or "let's just focus on the immediate issues." This disconnection isn't because your insights aren't valuable; quite the opposite. It's because you're operating at a level of perception that many others aren't accustomed to accessing. You naturally see the interconnections between things, the long-term implications, and the subtle human factors that others might overlook in favor of more immediate, practical concerns. The hidden cost of being everyone's counselor. One of the most draining aspects of being an INFJ is the role you naturally fall into: that of the unofficial therapist or counselor in your social and professional circles. Your ability to listen deeply, offer meaningful insights, and help others navigate their emotional challenges makes you an invaluable resource for those around you. But this gift often comes with a hidden cost that others rarely recognize or acknowledge. Think about how many times people have come to you with their problems, seeking your guidance and support. You listen intently, offering not just a sympathetic ear but genuine understanding and often profound insights that help them see their situation in a new light. You can spend hours helping someone work through their challenges, drawing on your deep well of empathy and wisdom to guide them toward clarity. But who's there to do the same for you? As an INFJ, you process things differently than most people. Your need for emotional support isn't just about having someone listen; it's about finding someone who can match your depth of understanding and offer the kind of meaningful insight you so readily provide to others. This imbalance can leave you feeling emotionally drained and isolated, carrying the weight of others' emotional needs while your own go unmet. When your introversion is mistaken for aloofness. Your need for solitude is another frequently misunderstood aspect of your personality. In a world that often equates sociability with warmth and engagement, your natural inclination toward quiet reflection can be misinterpreted as standoffishness or lack of interest in others. Nothing could be further from the truth. For you, solitude isn't about avoiding people, it's about maintaining the deep inner resources that allow you to be there for others in meaningful ways. It's during these quiet moments that you process your experiences, recharge your emotional batteries, and maintain the depth of insight that makes you such a valuable friend and colleague. Yet time and again, you might find yourself having to explain or justify your need for alone time. Why don't you join us more often? You should get out more. These well-meaning but misguided comments reflect a fundamental misunderstanding of how you function best. Your introversion isn't a flaw to be fixed. It's an essential part of what makes you capable of the deep connection and understanding that others value in you. The creative visionary nobody sees coming. Your creativity as an INFJ isn't just about making art or coming up with new ideas, though you certainly excel at these things. It's about your ability to envision better ways of doing things, to see possibilities where others see dead ends, and to understand how small changes now could lead to significant improvements later. This visionary quality often operates quietly in the background. You're not usually the one making grand pronouncements or demanding attention for your ideas. Instead, you tend to work behind the scenes, gradually implementing changes and improvements in ways that don't draw attention to themselves, but nevertheless make things better for everyone involved. Unfortunately, this modest approach, combined with your natural aversion to self-promotion, can mean that your creative contributions go unrecognized or, worse, get attributed to more vocal team members. You might find yourself in situations where your ideas are ignored when you present them, only to be celebrated when someone else suggests the same thing later in a more assertive way. The curse of being too understanding. Perhaps one of the most paradoxical challenges you face as an INFJ is that your great capacity for understanding others can actually work against you. Your ability to see multiple perspectives and understand where people are coming from is remarkable. You can often anticipate others' needs and feelings before they're even expressed, and you naturally consider different viewpoints when approaching any situation. However, this very strength can sometimes be perceived as weakness in a world that often values decisiveness and unwavering conviction over nuanced understanding. When you express consideration for multiple viewpoints or show empathy for opposing positions, others might mistake your understanding for indecisiveness or lack of conviction. They don't realize that your ability to see multiple sides of an issue isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sophisticated form of wisdom that allows for more nuanced and effective solutions. This misunderstanding can be particularly frustrating in professional settings, where being too understanding might be seen as a lack of leadership potential. The truth is, your ability to understand and consider various perspectives makes you an excellent mediator and problem solver, capable of finding solutions that consider everyone's needs and concerns. The struggle with perfectionism and recognition. As an INFJ, your relationship with perfectionism is complex and often misunderstood by others. Your drive for perfection isn't just about wanting things to be right, it's about seeing the full potential of what something could be and feeling a deep responsibility to bring that vision to life. You can envision the ideal outcome so clearly that anything less feels like settling for mediocrity. This perfectionism manifests in everything you do, from your work projects to your personal relationships. You put immense thought and care into every detail, considering not just the immediate impact, but the long-term implications and ripple effects of your choices. This level of conscientiousness often means you take longer to complete tasks or make decisions than others might expect. The challenge is that others often don't see or understand the depth of thought and care that goes into your work. They might grow impatient with your careful pace or dismiss your attention to detail as unnecessary. What they don't realize is that your perfectionism isn't about being difficult or overthinking, it's about seeing possibilities and potential that others might miss. The empathy overwhelm when feeling too much becomes invisible. Your empathy as an INFJ goes far beyond simply understanding how others feel. You actually experience others' emotions as if they were your own, a phenomenon that can be both a blessing and a burden. This deep emotional resonance allows you to provide unprecedented levels of support and understanding to others, but it also means you're constantly processing not just your own emotional experiences, but those of everyone around you. This emotional labor often goes completely unnoticed by others. They don't see how you absorb the stress, anxiety, or pain of those around you, or how you carefully modulate your own behavior to maintain emotional harmony in your environment. They don't realize that your calm exterior often masks an internal storm of processed emotions and carefully managed energies. The intensity of your empathy can be particularly overwhelming in today's hyper-connected world. Social media, news, and constant connectivity mean you're exposed to an endless stream of emotional content that you can't help but process and feel deeply. This can lead to emotional exhaustion that others might dismiss or fail to understand, especially if they don't share your level of sensitivity. The communication gap, when words fail your depth. One of the most frustrating challenges you face as an INFJ is the struggle to fully articulate your thoughts and insights. Your mind works in patterns, symbols, and interconnected webs of meaning that don't easily translate into linear conversation. You might find yourself starting sentences multiple times, trying to find the right entry point into a complex thought, or feeling frustrated when words seem inadequate to convey the full depth of your understanding. This communication challenge is particularly evident when you're trying to explain your intuitive insights. You might have a strong sense about a situation or person, based on countless subtle observations and pattern recognition, but when asked to explain your reasoning, you struggle to break it down into concrete, logical steps that others can follow. This gap between your rich inner world and your ability to express it can lead to significant frustration and feelings of isolation. You might find yourself holding back insights or choosing silence over the struggle to make yourself understood, which can further contribute to feeling undervalued or misunderstood. Your value in professional settings, the unsung hero. In professional environments, your unique combination of insights, empathy, and behind-the-scenes problem-solving can make you an invaluable team member, even if that value isn't always recognized or celebrated. You're often the one who anticipates problems before they arise, smooths over interpersonal conflicts before they escalate, and ensures that projects consider both practical and human elements. Your ability to see the big picture while maintaining attention to detail makes you excellent at quality control and project planning. You naturally consider how different components of a system interact and can anticipate potential issues that others might overlook. However, because much of this work happens preventatively and behind the scenes, it's easy for others to miss just how much you contribute to the team's success. Furthermore, your natural modesty and dislike of self-promotion can mean that your contributions go unrecognized or are attributed to others. You might find yourself in situations where you've quietly laid all the groundwork for a successful project, only to have more outspoken team members receive the credit for its success. Breaking through, making your value visible. While it's important to stay true to your authentic self, there are ways to help others better understand and appreciate your unique contributions. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about finding ways to translate your gifts into terms that others can more readily understand and appreciate. Start by documenting your contributions and insights, even if only for yourself at first. Keep track of the problems you've prevented, the conflicts you've resolved, and the improvements you've quietly implemented. This can help you build confidence in your value and provide concrete examples when you need to demonstrate your impact. Practice expressing your insights in ways that others can more easily grasp. While your natural tendency might be to start with the big picture and complex interconnections, try starting with concrete examples or specific outcomes that others can relate to. You can then gradually introduce the deeper patterns and implications you see. Finding your voice without losing your nature. Remember that being understood doesn't mean you need to fundamentally change who you are. It's about finding ways to bridge the gap between your rich inner world and the external world of others. This might mean developing new communication strategies, learning to set healthy boundaries, or finding creative ways to express your insights. Consider finding or creating spaces where your gifts are naturally more valued and understood. This might mean seeking out roles that specifically require your ability to understand complex systems and human dynamics, or connecting with others who share your depth of perception and understanding. Most importantly, remember that your worth isn't determined by how well others understand or recognize it. Your gifts are valuable whether they're seen or not, and your impact often reaches far beyond what's immediately visible to others. Conclusion: embracing your quiet power. To every INFJ watching this, your value isn't measured by how visible it is to others or how well it fits into conventional measures of success. Your quiet strength, deep understanding, and ability to see beyond the surface are precisely what make you exceptional, even if they're not always recognized or celebrated in the way they deserve. Your capacity for deep empathy, your ability to see patterns and possibilities others miss, and your natural talent for understanding complex human dynamics are gifts that the world desperately needs, perhaps now more than ever. While others might not always see or understand the full depth of your contributions, know that your impact ripples out in ways that transform lives and situations for the better. Continue to trust in your insights. Honor your need for depth and meaning, and remember that your sensitivity is not a weakness, but a profound strength. The right people and environments will recognize and value your gifts, and more importantly, you'll know in your heart the difference you make in the world. Remember, in a world that often celebrates the loud and obvious, your quiet depth and subtle wisdom are revolutionary acts of courage. Keep shining your light in your unique way. The world needs exactly what you have to offer, whether it knows it yet or not.